Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing a comparison between the Alcatel OneTouch Evolve and the Huawei Valiant from MetroPCS. So I'm going to start saying the similarities between the two phones, and then we're going to say the pros and cons about the both phones. So we're going to start with the Alcatel OneTouch. The similarities between them is that they are both 3G phones. They run on Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. They have 1 GHz processor. They have a screen of 4 inches with a resolution of 480 by 800 resolution. And they both come with 4 GB of internal memory. And you can also install a 32 gig expandable memory card. They also have a notification LED light. They have FM radio, and their display is a LCD TFT, and they don't have flash. So the pros for the Alcatel OneTouch is that the Android version that is running is a little bit more advanced than the Huawei Valiant. The one that is running on the Evolve is 4.1.2, and the one that is running on the Huawei is 4.1.1. It's not a big difference, but the Alcatel has, you can say, the latest so far. But I know that's not the latest, but it's the more advanced than the two. Also, the Alcatel OneTouch, on the back it has a 5 megapixel camera, and the Huawei only has a 3 megapixel camera. If we go to the front, the Evolve has a front-facing camera, while the Huawei does not have a front-facing camera. The price between the two phones, the Evolve costs $60 and the Huawei costs $80. So it's a little different, but it's not a big deal. It all depends what you like. The cons of the Evolve is that it only has a 1 GHz processor single core, but the Huawei has a 1 GHz processor dual core, so it has 2 cores instead of 1, so it performs better than the Evolve. The glasses that are used for the display, the Evolve has a standard glass, and the Huawei has a Gorilla Glass 2, so the Huawei is more resistant for scratches. The battery size, the Evolve only has 1,400 milliamps, while the Huawei has 1,750 milliamps. The available user memory for the Evolve is 1.4 gig, while the Huawei has 1.9 gig available for the user. And also the RAM for the Evolve is 512 megabytes of RAM, and the Huawei Valiant has 768 megabytes of RAM. So far you can see that the Huawei is a little bit better than the Evolve, and it costs a little bit more, but it all depends on what you like, cause the only huge difference that I see is between the memory, the internal memory. The one doesn't have the front-facing camera, and the one has a point better Android system. So instead of 4.1.1 or 4.1.2, Those are the pros and cons between the two phones. So now I will say it individually, and then you can make your own decision on what you would like to buy. First, we're gonna start with the Alcatel OneTouch Evolve. So the pros of this phone: it runs on Android 4.1.2. It has a 5 megapixel camera on the back. It has a front-facing camera on the front. It costs only $60, and you can also record video up to 720p. The cons on this phone is it only has a 1 gigahertz processor, single core. The glass of the screen is a standard glass. The battery size is a 1400 milliamps. The memory of the phone it comes with 4 gig of internal memory, but only for the user we have 1.4 gig, and the RAM is 512 megabytes of RAM. The resolution of the screen is 480 by 800. And let me go into the phone so I can show you. It has FM radio, but it's asking me to connect the headphone jack so it can take signal. So I will say no. So yeah, now from the Huawei, it has a 1 gigahertz processor, dual core. It has a Gorilla Glass 2. The battery size is 1750 milliamps. The memory is a 4 gig internal memory, but available for the user is only 1.9 gig. The RAM is 768 megabytes of RAM. The cons of this phone is it runs on Android 4.1.1. It has a 3 megapixel camera. It doesn't have a front-facing camera. It costs $80, and the video it only records on 480p. So the resolution is better on the Evolve. So now we're gonna do some benchmarks to see which one perform better, and we're gonna start with the quadrant standard. And also we're gonna see the speeds, which one finished first, and all that stuff. You can tell so far that the Huawei is ahead. That's because it has more RAM than the Evolve. So let's see what will be the score at the end. Okay, the Huawei already finished. And the score that we got on this phone, it was 2,288. So let me try to get it closer. There you go, 2,288. The Evolve just finished. So let's see what was the score on that phone. It was 2,757. Let's see. There you go, 2,557. So you can see that even though it has a lower memory RAM, it still got a higher score than the Huawei Valiant. That's pretty interesting. So now let's do the other benchmark, that it will be the AnTuTu benchmark. So let's make sure to close everything. And there you go. Okay, the Huawei Valiant just finished. So, and also the Evolve, it was a little bit behind. Okay, the Huawei got a 7,545, as you can see there, and the Evolve got it 6,354. So the Huawei is the winning on this one. So let's try our last benchmark, is Geekbench 3. Let's close everything. Here you can see the specs. So now let's run the benchmark. and the Evolve is ahead by 2%. Let's see if the Huawei is gonna catch up and pass it. The Evolve, it is still ahead by 4%. And it's going faster now. The Evolve is almost done, and the Huawei is at 96. Okay, the Evolve just finished. So the score that we got was, on the single core we have 322, and on the multi-core we have 320. So I will consider the first one because this is a single core phone, so it is 322. So now let's go to the Huawei. The Huawei got on the single core processor 251 and multi-core 434. So the winning on this one is again the Huawei Valiant. So this was all my benchmarks, and I already show you all the pros and cons on the phone. Which one will I prefer the most? For me, I will go with the Huawei because it has more RAM, it has a bigger battery, and it performs a little bit better than the Evolve. I don't really care about the front-facing camera. I'm not a person that likes, to take selfies. By watching this video, you can make your own decision and decide which phone is best for you. But I will recommend the Huawei Valiant if you don't mind not having the front-facing camera. So this is it, guys. Thank you for watching my videos. Please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below. Thank you.